Hey guys, welcome back to Hands On Channel. I want to share something with you here today that I discovered last time I was out working on the off-grid homestead. Uh, and I kind of even bragged about this in one of the videos because before I knew this about the Stanley FatMAX, I thought that I had the best tape measure in the world. In fact, my wife bought me this tape measure as a gift. I think it was a birthday gift or something. And she asked me what I needed, and I was like, well, I hear the Stanley FatMAX makes a real fine tape measure. I'd like to have one, for all this construction work I'm going to be doing. And supposedly you can reel this thing out 11 feet, and you can most of the time. But I've noticed that mine a lot of times snaps at like 9.5 to 10 feet. It doesn't quite get to the full 11, but still, it's still pretty nice to be able to reel the thing out there that far. Although I never had a problem with this old one, this Stanley lever lock. And that's why I'm really making this video, is because I have never seen this before and I was highly disappointed. It has really, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe this is just a particular model of the FatMAX. I don't know. It's called the Auto Lock 30, made in the USA, but they have changed the lock switch here. It has this really weird deal like this going on instead of the old style where you just pushed it down or pulled it up. Now right now it's on the free spin mode, so you can pull it like this and it comes out. When you get it in the lock mode, it still comes out, so it doesn't lock inward. It only locks, or it doesn't lock as you're pulling it outward. It only locks as it's pushing in. So try to get my hands in frame here, but as I'm pushing in, you can see it locks this way, but it never locks this way, no matter what you do. And so what that means for me is I'm doing a heck of a lot of ladder work, and there's times I need to pull off this much of the tape, like maybe a foot or two, and just hang it there so I can take a measurement. Well, what happens is this thing drops all the way to the floor. And when you're on a 12 foot or an 8 foot ladder or whatever, that's a pretty big deal, because now you have to either climb down or just drop the daggum end of the tape measure and hope it reels up in there, and that's annoying. But every other tape measure I've ever owned does this, where you can hang it like this. And I don't know what they were trying to do, redesign the lever here with their fancy lever lock, but I am highly disappointed in this thing. In fact, it's a deal killer. There's the only time I would ever want to use this is down on the ground. If I'm ever on a ladder, this thing is useless to me, because I take so many measurements like that, where you just, you run off a little tape and you hold on, the measurement, the tape measure just hangs down here, and you take your measurement and then you reel it back up and put it back on your tool belt. It's not that big a deal, but for some reason, they've decided to put this newfangled button on here, and it's supposed to, I guess, lock it. And for one thing, it's really kind of hard. It almost takes two thumbs to get the thing to get in the freewheel mode. This is the free spin, so it just goes in and out by the spring tension. And it came with this little thing. I have no idea what that's for, or what. I don't know. Maybe if you needed it clips onto the end here, and I guess if you needed to measure something on the end here, that's what it's for. But I really don't need that. I wish they'd have just saved that and made that an add-on that you could buy extra if you needed that. And went with the old-fashioned button that made the FatMAX such a great tape measure, because several of the channels I watch, Essential Craftsman and two or three others, I see all these construction guys, the serious ones, they use the FatMAX. And I guarantee you, when they find out about this, when they break their next one and they find out they've changed the lock, because I just went over to a buddy of mine's house a few days ago, and he had an identical old style. It was still the plastic body, but it was an older style, and it had the traditional type of lock. And even this older tape measure worked the same way. Unless you hit this button, it was stuck there. It would stay right where you wanted it to be. So I'm going to call this an epic fail. I don't know what they were thinking. They were trying to make it look like a transformer or something, instead of trying to make it a functional machine, that, a tool that has been around forever. And sometimes companies do this sort of stuff. So hopefully they listen to the feedback, and I'm sure other guys have complained about it. And again, it may just be this particular model auto lock. And my wife, unfortunately, she bought it on Amazon, so I can't really return the thing or anything. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But if you have to do any ladder work ever, do not recommend this, because you're going to end up getting really angry when you go to take a little measurement like this and the thing won't stay. So All right, guys, that's just my thoughts on it. You know, Stanley's still a great company. You know, I'm glad to see they're made in the USA, but sometimes they just need to leave well enough alone, and instead of trying to always reinvent the mousetrap. They had a good working tape measure, and now I've got one that I can't. It's not worth a darn to me on a ladder. So, all right, guys, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.